Okay, wow. This is such a long time coming. I have been talking about starting my YouTube channel for, I think, a year at least at this point. And believe it or not, I've tried to film a vlog, I don't know, maybe half a dozen times now.
Hey, I have to be so real with you guys. I filmed this, I don't know, months ago. And I edited it most all the way. And then I was watching it back and I was really, really unhappy with the audio quality. And so I actually did go ahead and I got myself a mic like right away. And then it just sat and sat and sat in my computer. And then before I knew it, it was irrelevant because spring was over. I don't know yet how much of the original footage I'm going to keep in this vlog, but basically I was like, oh, it's going to be my spring knitting plans. Great. Well, it's now July. Today is July 1st. We are fully in summer and my spring knitting plans are no longer relevant. Also, none of them really happened anyway. So I thought I would just pop on real quick. I'm in the car, obviously. I have brought my son to a little railroad park to just try and spend some time out of the house. But he's sleeping right now, and I don't want to wake him up as I speak it at regular volume. But I figured I would just take this opportunity while he's finishing up his nap before we go and have some fun today, redo this vlog, more or less. So I realize that because I'm probably not going to keep any of the original footage, that all of the stuff that I said in terms of introducing myself is no longer there. So let me just back up. Let me go straight to the beginning and tell y'all a little bit about me. Hi, my name is Emma. I am a recently turned 34-year-old artist living in the Phoenix area, Arizona. And I love to knit and crochet and craft and make art in general. And I've wanted to start this vlog for a really, 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 really long time, mostly because I enjoy watching these kinds of vlogs on YouTube. I've just really loved seeing other people's processes, what they're working on. I've learned a lot watching these vlogs, and I just find them generally entertaining. So I thought that looks like a lot of fun, and also I want to be a part of that community. So here I am starting a vlog. I am a professional actress and dancer by trade. So that is my job. That is what I do for a quote unquote living. If you know anything about the industry, you know there's not a lot of money in this industry, but we don't do it for the money. We do it for the love of it. So that's what I do. And then aside from that, like I said, I am an artist. So theater is art, dance is art, and I am also an artist of visual mediums. So I do watercolor painting. Like I said, I knit and crochet, which is mainly what I've been watching on YouTube is knit and crochet vlogs and podcasts and things of that nature. And so I think will be mostly what I'm focused on this channel, but honestly, that could definitely change and it could be all kinds of different things, which I think is the beauty of it. Like, I'm just going to share all of my artistic endeavors with you here on this channel, probably. I don't know. I really don't know what this is going to be, and I think that's why I've kind of been dragging my feet for a long time. I've been thinking about the vibe, what I want to share on here, and the vibe is something that I have been struggling with. I'm like, do I want to lean into something a little bit more serious, a little bit more comical, a little bit more artistic in the way that I put together a video? Or do I want it to be very just like put the camera down, talk to you podcast style? Do I want it to be more like a studio vlog? I don't know. I'm sure that this is going to change and evolve over time as I learn more, as I do more, as I kind of figure out my own style and get my footing on the platform. But yeah, I am really excited. I am married. I have a husband. His name is Jake. And then, as I mentioned, I do have a 1-year-old son. So I am a mom. I am a new mom still. We call him Z. You will not see his face on here. We choose not to share his face or his name on the internet. But you will see evidence of him. You will probably hear evidence of him. So just know that it's a really big part of my life. And while my channel will in no way be about parenting, I am a parent, and it will inevitably end up being a part of my channel because it's a part of my life. So there is that. What else do you need to know about me before I kind of dive into what I wanted to talk about, which is my current project? And I will touch a little bit on some knitting plans. Like I said, it is July 1st, so I feel like summer knitting plans doesn't really make any sense because we're already like in summer, especially here in Phoenix. It is hot. Although this week we have lucked out. We've had a little bit cooler temperatures. 102, which I know for some of you, probably most of you in different parts of the country and even different parts of the world. I don't know how far this is going to reach, but y'all are probably thinking, oh my gosh, 100 is crazy. And yeah, it is. But in terms of Phoenix summer, this is like a breeze. This is a walk in the park. Because it's just going to get hotter. So let me jump into my current project. So the story behind this project, okay. I have been knitting. I started knitting in 2017, 18? Wait. 2017. I don't know, somewhere around there. I started knitting and I love it. I fell in love with it pretty much immediately. I love the idea of slow fashion. I love the idea of making your own clothes. I love the idea of just making things with your hands. And I'm a very tactile person. I really enjoy like when I don't like online shopping because I don't like that I can't touch anything. Like I want to go to a store. I want to touch things. I want to feel things. Oh, there it is. Hi, baby. Let's see if I can get out just a few more minutes of this. Perhaps some water and a snacky will buy us a few minutes. Mom life, am I right? Okay, so in the time that I have been knitting, I have found things that I like, things that I don't necessarily care for, blah, 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 blah. But something that I have been wanting to try and have just gotten the courage, I guess, to finally do is a color work circular yoke sweater. I've made sweaters. I have done a little bit of stranded color work before, but I've never done like a full like color work yoke sweater. So it's something I've been wanting to do. And I recently, and by recently I mean like, I don't know, many, many, many months ago, so not that recently, found an extremely special skein of yarn at a local yarn shop that I just fell in love with immediately. It's an Earth Yarns skein, fingering weight, 100% superwash merino wool. It's gorgeous, but I've kind of been hanging on to it because I've kind of been like, I don't know what I want to do with this. It's really special. I want to make something that I care about, and I only have one skein. So I had thought that this was a variegated yarn. Turns out it's a self-striping yarn, which kind of, when I found that out, it kind of lost a little bit of its excitement for me because I'm not thrilled about a self-striping yarn personally, but the colors are just so beautiful and I love the way they all go together. So I thought, you know, this yarn might actually be perfect as a contrasting color in a circular yoke sweater. So then I started to look up patterns for two color work, so a main color and a contrasting color, no more than that, with a pattern that I really liked, with a construction that I really liked. And I struggled to find a pattern that I loved. And I still wouldn't say, I like the pattern I chose. I wouldn't say I love it. But it's nothing against the pattern. I think it's a great pattern. It is beautiful. As far as my style, maybe it's not 100% hit the nail on the head, but I chose it because I do like it, and I think that it will suit the yarn really well. So I am working on, the pattern is called Rain Bloom. I can't think of the designer right now off the top of my head, but I will put it on the screen and I will link the pattern down below. So let me show you first the Earth Yarns skein. It is attached to the project, which I do have with me just in case I find myself in a position where I get to do a couple rounds while we're out and about, which rarely happens. But whenever I have an opportunity to be knitting while we're out, I don't have my project. So I figured I'd just have it with me and then we'll see. But anyway, this is the ball of yarn. This is not the best representation of the way the colors look because I obviously did ball this up by hand. There's a lot of these pinkies in here and greens and blues, but what there actually is a lot of that you can't see right now is this gray. There's a lot of gray in here, and this is not focusing really well. what you will learn about me quickly, I'm not a cool toned person. I really like warm colors and I don't like gray. Just in general, gray is not my thing. I don't like to work with black very much either. I prefer like brown, cream, like warm tan, those kinds of tones, things that have more warmth to them. So, but this yellow that's in here is so cool and I'm really excited to get to the yellow. But anyway, so this is the contrast color. And so I was going back and forth and trying to figure out what I was going to use for my main color. And one of the things that I really wanted to focus on is using things that I have in my stash. And actually, I filmed a whole video of me going through my stash and not portioning out, but like sorting and separating all my different yarns and assigning projects to them that I had in my Ravelry favorites. And I filmed a whole video, and I actually think it's a really fun video. So I think that even though the sound quality might not be so great, and it's not totally irrelevant, but it's a little bit irrelevant at this point in time, I think I might still post that because I just think it's a really fun video. And actually, it was an incredibly useful thing that I did because it gave purpose to, I would say 80%, maybe 85% of the yarn in my stash. I don't have a large stash, so to have assigned projects to the yarn that I do have was really helpful. But what I already knew but really learned in that process is that I don't have a sweaters quantity of anything, really. So I knew that I was going to have to purchase a yarn to use for the main color for this sweater. So I was going back and forth, and I didn't know what I wanted to use. And then I bought a single ball to try of the Knitting for Olive Extra Fine Merino that they were carrying in my local yarn shop. I've heard of this yarn so many different times. But then I saw it for the first time at my local yarn store. They had just started to carry it. So I was like, oh my gosh, great. I'm going to grab a ball of this and swatch and see how it goes. Well, I went to swatch and I was so far off gauge. Like when I tell you, there was no possible way I could meet gauge. And also the color that I had was too stark of a white to go with the multi. So I was like, this isn't going to work. The weights were not similar enough for me. Like the Knitting for Olive was a very light fingering, whereas what I have from the Earth yarn, I believe to be more of a true fingering weight. So I just didn't feel like it was going to work and I didn't like the color combo. So I scrapped that. So then I was at a different local yarn store with my mom and I found this. Barocco Ultra Alpaca Fine in this kind of like warm, I don't know, jute almost color. I really like this yarn. It is, let's see. This is 50% superwash wool, 30% nylon, 20% superfine alpaca. It is a number 1 fingering weight yarn. Okay, great. Love this. I do like this yarn, and it's a little bit more rustic in its feel than the Earth yarn. So I put these together and I wasn't completely sold, mostly because of the gray that's in here. Let's see if we'll focus up here. So I wasn't 100% sold, but I was like, this could work. So I started knitting. I'm still going to be off gauge. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to knit like 2 sizes bigger than I normally would. So I cast this on, I started working it, and I was just not feeling it. I also started over several times because I was like, I want to change the construction of this a little bit. I want a ribbed collar. So I started off casting on the same number of stitches, but I started off with a 2x2 rib, and I did that for a little bit. And then I was like, no, I think this is a bad idea. I think I should follow the pattern, go back at the end, pick up stitches, and do the ribbing last. So I frogged the ribbing. I started over. Like, I had already started over, right? This was attempt probably 3 or 4 at this point of this sweater. So I've got this yarn. I'm starting to work the color work chart. Again, I don't have the most experience with color work, so I was trying different ways to tension the 2 yarns, and I wasn't really getting into a groove. What I finally landed on was the method where you hold one color English style and one color continental style and you knit that way. And I didn't think I would like that at first because the other color work that I've done before, I haven't needed to do that. But this one, you're switching back and forth between, but this one, you're not switching back and forth as often as the things that I've done in the past. So I didn't find that to be super useful. I don't know, just it wasn't working for this project. So I was like, okay, we're going to do the continental English combo for this. And that was working okay, but my tension was really funky. But I was like, it'll block, the magic of blocking, it'll be okay. We're just going to keep going. So I got, I don't know, 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches into the chart. And I just wasn't sold on the color combo. I just didn't like it that much. And I had been at my local yarn store like the day before looking for yarn for my next project that I'm really excited about, which I will tell you about soon. And I found this on a whim, not looking for it. I just happened upon this. Now this is the Heritage Silk from Cascade Yarns. This is a 85%, yes, 85% superwash merino and 15% silk. It feels lovely. It's a much smoother yarn than the Barocco alpaca. So I felt like it was a better match to the earth yarn. Also, it's like identical in the way it's twisted and the weight. So they're so similar in that, in like the structure of the yarn, that I thought this is actually going to be a much better match. And I think the colors will be a lot better. So I did buy a few hanks of that to go with my earth yarn. So this is what it looks like caked up. And this is what they look like together. And I can't tell you, I'm so much happier with this combo because this is not a stark white. This is like such a beautiful, warm, and soft, creamy color that I just love. So let me show you where I'm at because I restarted and I am, I don't know, probably 1.5 inches into this pattern right now. So I don't have a ton of progress, but I have some progress to show. So this is where I'm at. We have changed colors a couple of times in the multi. And overall, let's see if I can get this to focus up. Overall, I am so much more pleased with this. So my plan is to knit this as the pattern is written and then go back and pick up stitches on the neckline to create ribbed, probably a fold over ribbed neck. I have a couple of other ideas for modifications that I want to make for this pattern, but yeah, I'm really happy with how this is going. Like I said, I don't have a ton to show, so it's not the easiest thing to show right now. But my tension is also much better this time around, and I've made far less mistakes. I was just missing increases a lot last time around. So if you care to see the back, these are my floats. I'm picking up my floats every 3 to 4 stitches, depending on the stitch count. I think my floats look pretty even and pretty good. They're not perfect, but I'm okay with that. And overall, I'm very happy. It seems to have enough stretch to it. I think my tension is okay. So yeah, we are in good shape. I'm going to leave you there because obviously I have a child who needs my attention right now. But I will be back at some point to continue to share what I've got going on. And then hopefully in not a lot of time, we will finally have a successful first vlog that I will be able to put out on my channel. Hello again. It is obviously a new day. We had a great time yesterday, lots of fun. Z enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. We were outside most of the day, so that was a huge success. I obviously did not have a chance to come back on yesterday at any point. I had to go to the theater last night to do my show. I don't think I told you guys what show I'm in right now. I'm in a production of Cats, which is super fun and crazy and like just wild. But the nature of, I mean, I don't know. Some people know a lot about cats. Some people know nothing about cats. I know cats is very polarizing in, you know, you either love it or you hate it, whatever. I happen to be a fan of cats because this is the second time I've done it and I just think it's a lot of fun to do. But regardless, that is beside the point. I didn't have a ton of time yesterday to get any more knitting done. So I maybe did like 1 or 2 more rounds. So the progress is pretty much exactly where I left you. Nothing wild. I don't think I mentioned this yet, but I have a whole vlog already filmed that is like a day in the life of a working actress who likes to knit. And it's just like taking you through my day at Cats, a 2-show day with my knitting and like getting ready and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be going up shortly. Although I will just point out a little caveat with that is I filmed that before I started over with these colors. So I think it's still a fun video. I'm still gonna probably put it together and post it, but in terms of the actual knitting, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but it's just not what I'm ended up working on. But anyway, I've since started over, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, anywho, yeah, that's pretty much it for this project right now. We will see how much I can get done today. Today is a 2-show day, so I typically get a lot more knitting done on a 2-show day because I have that large break in between shows and it's not quite enough time for me to come home, so I don't have my baby. So I'm able to kind of just like really lock in. Although today I probably will be editing this vlog so that I actually get it posted. So we'll see if I actually get any knitting done today or if all my time is taken up editing the vlog. I don't know. I'm still kind of like figuring things out with this, obviously. But one thing that I did want to mention is that now I have 3 skeins. I have 3 skeins of this Barocco Ultra Alpaca. Fine. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I like it. Like I mentioned before, it is a little bit more rustic. I think I showed it last time, but just in case I didn't, here's a little bit more of a close-up of the yarn itself. I do like this a lot. I like the color. I'm thinking that this might make a nice cardigan. I've actually never made a cardigan. Cardigans, for some reason, are another one of those things that, like, for whatever reason, it's intimidating. I think the button band intimidates me on a cardigan. And I know I could make one that doesn't have a button band, but I'm thinking that perhaps this would be good for a cardigan. I think the color would suit a cardigan nicely because I think this is the kind of color that could go with a lot of different things. So I think that's gonna be my plan for this. I don't necessarily have a pattern picked out, although I have a couple in mind. Actually, let me just go ahead. Let me just pull it up because I do actually think I know which one I want to use, but I couldn't tell you what it is off the top of my head. So let me just look at it real quick. My computer's right here, if that wasn't obvious. The BonBon Cardi by Miir Knits. Super cute. It does call for a sport weight. I would probably have to hold this double with something because this is a fingering weight, but I have enough. I have enough to do this long sleeve. It's so cute. It has almost a pointelle, like eyelet look to it, a really delicate button band, and the button band is scalloped, and like the edging on it is scalloped and just really, really pretty. It's like a very classic cardigan, but because it has the eyelets, I don't think it would be super duper, like it wouldn't be super warm, which is good living in Arizona. But yeah, it's just classic and pretty and feminine, and I like it a lot. So I think perhaps that's what I'm going to do with this yarn. Now, the other thing that I wanted to share with you, I'm like really, really excited about this one. Hang on. Did I not? Why didn't I save it? No, I didn't. Why didn't I save it? That's dumb. Okay. So the next thing I want to share with you is my planned project. And I know exactly what I'm doing next, and I'm so excited about it. And I know I said earlier that I had like planned out everything that I was going to be knitting, and I, have my stash all separated and all the things. Well, I went rogue, and I didn't want to go rogue because I want to use what I have and I don't want to be spending a lot of money, buying a lot of things, whatever, la 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 la, etc. But I saw this pattern and I was like, ugh, I need that. I found this pattern because Eleanor over at Cozy Books and Knits, which is one of my favorite like knitting YouTube channels, she did a video somewhat recently about upcoming patterns. So patterns that were not yet released, but would be released soon, like that are in testing and stuff like that. And she called out, I apologize if I'm saying this wrong, the Saugerties Pullover by Chelsea Martin. And it's just perfect. I love it. I think it's so cool. It has all over texture. It's just your very like a very, I would say, I don't want to say standard, but it's a very common construction. You have your ribbed neckline, your drop shoulder, but there's all over texture on this, and there's this super cool band of color work across the chest, and she has different motifs available with this pattern. So there's one with fish on it, this one with sheep on it, but the one that I'm gonna do that I'm so excited is a bear with mountains. And I know y'all don't know me that well yet, but I am obsessed with the mountains. I love bears, and my husband and I we're very outdoorsy people. We love to camp and do all these kinds of things, and I just feel like this sweater is perfect. And I could see myself like cozying up in this sweater around a campfire, or after a long day of hiking, just like getting in my sweater, I don't know, enjoying the campfire or whatever. But I just love this. I love the texture. I love the motif. I love that it looks vintagey in a way. Like it looks classic, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I love the shape of it. It's a little bit boxier of a fit. I just think the details are excellent. I think everything about it is excellent. So I'm really excited, and I already bought the yarn for it. I had a vision for this, like pretty much immediately when I decided I was going to knit this. I knew how I wanted to do it, and I'm so hoping that my vision works out the way that I see it in my head. So I went to my local yarn store and I picked up another sweater's quantity worth of yarn. I don't do this, by the way. This is not a thing that I do a lot. I don't go out and buy a ton of yarn all the time. I recently had a birthday, so I had some birthday money. I had a gift card to my local yarn shop. I had just a little bit of incentive, I guess, to go do a little bit of shopping, but this will probably be the majority. Like, I don't think I'll buy more yarn probably until the new year, honestly. Because one, I now have 3 projects like queued up, and I have a whole queue of projects. I keep pointing here because my stash is in my couch. Like my couch has that storage, whatever in it. So anyway, this is what I got. So for my main color, I have this beautiful tweed in a very natural, I actually believe that the base of this is undyed. Just a natural base. And then for my contrast color, and this is where I got really stuck because I had such a specific color in my head, and I was at the local yarn store and I was looking at all these different tweed and tweed type yarns, and the ones that I liked, they didn't have the colors that I wanted. And so I ultimately chose this yarn because I felt that the tweed was the most true tweed, and then the colors were the truest to what I had in my head. So this is my contrast color, and I am obsessed with it. I just think it's gorgeous. I just think it's so vibrant, so pretty. I love a vibrant color, like something that is just cannot be mistaken. Like it just catches your eye. That's my thing. I love color, and I love vibrant colors. So I'm really excited about this. Now, these are from the brand Dylicious Yarns, which is a local to Phoenix yarn dyer. So this is what the label looks like. And obviously this particular yarn is called Desert Tweed. And yeah, it's super soft. Let's see, what do we got? We are 85% merino wool, 15% Donegal, which I actually don't know what that is. But regardless, yeah, really excited to use this. It's really soft. It's a DK weight yarn, which is what the pattern calls for. And that was the other thing that I was getting stuck on choosing a yarn, is like, I knew I could have used a different weight, but I didn't really want to deal with that. So that is that. The last thing I want to share with you is my crochet project that I have going, that I have had. This is an ongoing project. This is something that I've been working on for a while now, and I'm not super concerned about getting it done in any particular amount of time. So it's just kind of something that I work on in between projects or when I want to switch it up a little bit or whatever. But it is a 6-day superstar blanket. So if you've heard of the 6-day star blanket, this is by the same designer, Betty McKnit, and it's just a little bit of a different version of it. So this is what I have so far. Wait, that's the wrong side with all my ends that have not been woven in. She's looking so good, you guys. I love the way this is coming out. I love the colors. I love the way it's working up. Very, 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 very pleased with this. So I am using K&C Cotton, which was a Joanne exclusive brand, RIP. You cannot get this yarn really anymore. A couple of colors are available on Hirschner's, but not very many. It's very clear that they're just, I mean, they were just selling off what they had left, and it will no longer exist. So I don't really think that I actually have enough to finish this as a full-size blanket, but I'm just going to keep going basically until I run out of yarn. So I had gone to Joann's and bought a ton of this when they were going out of business because it was super cheap, it was on sale, and I had a different blanket pattern that I wanted to make, and I actually did start that pattern, and it was a granny square blanket, and I got several motifs done, and then I just kind of fizzled out, and I saw the 6-day star blanket, and I was like, wait a second, I'm going to use the rest of the yarn to make that. And then I saw the Superstar and I liked that better. So, because it's more round. The 6-day star blanket is super cute, but the points are so severe, and this is just more rounded. Like the shape is gentler, and I just really, really, really like this. So that is my crochet whip. I started crocheting, I don't know, a year ago maybe a little over a year. I am actually not even really sure, but I really enjoy crocheting. It's harder on my hands, so I don't do as much crocheting as knitting, but I do love a crochet project, and I find that I really love crochet for home decor and home goods, baskets, blankets, trivets, coasters, things of that nature. Not to say that I don't enjoy a crochet garment, but I don't think I've crocheted a garment yet, but I love a granny square project. So I know that there's a lot of that in my future. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for spending some time with me. I am excited about everything that I have planned, everything that I have in progress. I'm excited to see how much I can get done today. And I will come back another time and show you some more progress. Keep your eyes peeled for more content of me at the theater as a working actress and doing what I love to do, and also knitting, which is another thing that I love to do. So I am excited about making that kind of content because I think that's going to be really, really fun. So stick around for that. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye. Perfect.